How did he approach recording vocals? Was there anything unique about his approach?
No, he just did it. I mean, he just stood in front of the microphone. It was a very good microphone. Neumann U67, same one we used for Beat Happening and anybody else that recorded there. And he just sounded great. He just was a natural born singer. Just did that. A lot of people don't understand. There were so many good singers of that generation. Like within 5 years, I recorded Sean Smith, Reggie Watts, Chris Cornell, Calvin Johnson, Kurt Cobain, Mark Lanigan, and a lot of other great singers that no one knows about or, other people know about. So the idea that you just, this is taking care of itself, but put Kurt in front of a Neumann mic, put it through this compressor, and we're in business. It just sounded perfect.
So cool.
And just happened organically and happened in 1 or 2 takes, So.
That's awesome. And was he easy to work with in the studio?
Yes.
That's cool. So we
had fun. It was a good time.
Okay, so they come to the studio, you start working with them. When did you first, was it right away you saw, okay, these guys are like he's a natural born singer, or did it take a few takes for that to come through?
Oh, I knew that from the Bleach record. They just sounded great. He had what they call it, a vocal fry. He had a place where his voice went into overtones, and I picked up all these harmonics, and it's just a classic thing that great rock singers have. And you could hear that all over the stuff. And then, believe me, I heard Bleach without ever. I don't think I ever put the record on in my house. I heard Bleach so many fucking times. By the time I recorded Nirvana, because it got played on the radio or it got played in restaurants and all this. But yeah, there's a whole thing when a band's getting ready to track, and especially a guy like me, because I came to engineering later on than some people. So I work hard, maybe harder than some folks, because I'm really trying to, not fuck up and do the best gig I can. But yeah, when you've got 3 people playing and, 12, 20 mics all happening, you're running around checking this and that and checking levels, and you got a tape machine and there's all these things that can go wrong or overmodulate or, what have you. And then you get, vocal. No, that's, that's fine. You get to sort of in the middle of all of this shit. You go, yeah, there you go. There's the vocal, and it just sounded perfect. It was just like him out in the room with the cymbals bleeding into everything. And he was just totally delivering, on the basic, not even as an overdub, just, while the band's laying down the basic, while he's doing allegedly a scratch vocal, he's just delivering it as if he was playing live,
That's amazing. So you mentioned about a minute ago that you also work with Chris Cornell. Was his approach to recording vocals different than Kurt's? How would you compare the two of them as singers in the studio?
You have to understand, both these guys, I worked on records that were Econo records, and there wasn't any time for screwing around. And so both these guys just went in and did their part and didn't fuck around. And later, Cornell figured out all these ways to record and recorded himself a lot and chased everybody out of the room. I wasn't around for any of that. The early 90s to a certain extent, and then the 80s, definitely, they don't fit well onto the internet. And so it's not very well documented. And there are just a lot of stories and a lot of things that happened when, people had VHS cameras, but they didn't have their phone,
Yeah.
So, only so many things got recorded. Only so many people did interviews. Only, when I was recording the Screaming Trees on an Atari MX 5050B, Jack Endino was recording Nirvana and Soundgarden on an Atari MX 5050B. Dinosaur Jr. back in Boston was being recorded on an Atari MX 5050B. Down in LA, Whisker Du were being recorded on an MX 5050B. So everyone was using the same half-inch 8-track. Certain things were like, okay, that's a 1985 sound. That's a 1984 sound, and you can hear it. It's all over the records. Mm-hmm. People don't really understand that. People are excited about tape. People want to know about all of this, but it's an odd one. So anyway, thank you for your efforts in looking into the past and some of the early days and all of this
No
stuff.
problem. I appreciate that. I really like the old stories of how things got to where they were. Like I love history. So I feel like with Nirvana, because they're such a big band and like people just look at them, they look at them just as stars, but they don't look at the early part of how they got there. So I love uncovering these little stories about what things actually were like.